Peter from New Edge Sharpening here in Snowbound, Nova Scotia. This video is mostly for my blog followers and anyone else interested in sharpening a serrated knife. I get lots of folks asking me to do a video on how I sharpen one. I was reluctant to do that until I purchased better video producing equipment, but that could be a while. So I just hope that you focus on what my intention is here, which is to help those who are interested in how I do it, and not to critique the quality of the video. First of all, I want to thank all those who have taught me what I know about sharpening, and not just serrated knives, of course, but all knives, and that's mostly from the folks on the forums and other people like Ben Dale and John Broida. Okay, and I find that a serrated knife like this 35 to 40-year-old Henckels is actually pretty easy to sharpen. I've tried a lot of techniques. I've experimented probably 10 different ways to do it, but the one you're going to see is my favorite. I've used it hundreds of times successfully. Now, there are some serrated knives where you get the points that are so worn down that it's almost better to just grind them right off and convert the knife into a slicer. I've done that a few times too. And we don't want to. The goal here is to remove the fatigue metal on the serrated side and remove the bit on the flat side too. Make a nice clean edge on both sides, of course, and we don't want to wear down these points as we do this process. That's important. Those points that's what makes a serrated knife what it is, and we don't want to wear them down any more than they are. There's a couple thoughts on serrated knives. Some people just don't sharpen them. Some other people just sharpen the back of the knife, which probably does improve it. Or some people just purchase a cheap serrated knife and $15 serrated knife, throw it away every 6 months when it gets dirty, or when it gets dull. So I don't believe any of that stuff. I'm just going to show you how I do it. I did not invent this system. This is just the way I do it. You need to work both sides of this knife, the serrated side and the flat side of the knife. And the amount of time you spend in both areas is dependent on the condition of the blade. You can use the Edge Pro for this, if you have, or you can use full-size stones, or you can use a combination of both. You can use the Edge Pro as a bench to put this knife on, and I'll show you what I mean. The tools I use, besides the knife and those stones and the stone holder, is a ceramic rod. And I've also got this nifty little diamond cone thing here that fits into knives with smaller serrations like folders and such. And I won't spend too much more time talking here, folks, before I get into this. You can also use, if you don't have any a ceramic rod, you could probably use your hone. You could use a dowel with some wet and dry sandpaper. If this was a dowel, you could just wrap the sandpaper. This is 600 grit microabrasive. You could just wrap it around and use that. In this method, you'll see I've done that before too. And there are different rods and various sizes. You can go buy them and different diameters to fit to suit all your needs. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I do is I work on the serrated side first. Now, I've seen videos of Ben Dale where he works on the flat side. I've done that too, but both methods seem to work. And what you need to do is you need to rest your knife on something like I used using the Shafton glass stone holder, and I put the knife there. So I've got access to the serrations, and I also have enough clearance to move my ceramic rod up and down through the serrations, which is my goal, which is what I'm going to do here. I need to move, and you'll be able to see on a dull serrated knife the burr that's on there. There's the metal that's folded up, that's fatigued and failed and folded up on the serrated side. I want to remove that and push it over to the flat side of the knife. And this is what I use the ceramic rod for. So I just put the knife down. If you could use the end of a book, anything. You could use a stone to put this on. You just need clearance. So with moderate pressure, I'm using good pressure here. I'm removing the burr that's here, the debris that's making the knife dull, and I'm also going about 8 to 10 strokes in every serration. I'm just doing this quickly in this video. And now the angle I'm following is the angle that's trying to use the angle that's already built into this knife for the serrations. It's not critical that you follow the exact angle. You can use a Sharpie method on this too, and I've done that. And all I'm doing, you'll be able to see your what you're doing if you're accomplishing anything, because you'll see that metal, that's debris that's formed up there, disappear as you move down the blade. And it doesn't take long to do this. So this ceramic rod that I'm using is just perfect for this. It's going to get the job done. So what I want to be able to do is feel a burr on the flat side of the knife when I flip this blade over. I know you already know this, but probably that's a Barkeeper's Friend is perfect for cleaning this off. I just use a cork, some Barkeeper's Friend, and rub it over the thing, the ceramic rod, and remove this built up metal. So I've done the serrated side. I want to feel for a burr on the flat side, which is quite detectable, very easy to follow, feel. So now I have to remove that burr. So this is what I'm going to show you how I do it on a flat stone, a water stone, and then I'm going to show you how I use the Edge Pro for that. So this is a 600 grit Nano Acero, for the professional series of stones. Now, I'm just going to shave off this burr that I've created by resting the knife flat on the stone, and I'm just raising it a little tiny bit. I do not want to rub it, stroke the stone with the flat, because it will scratch the blade. So I'm just going to remove it enough just to clear the stone, but to remove that metal. And I'm just going to use edged leading strokes here with very little pressure. And I don't want to do this too much. I don't want to recreate the burr on the serrated side again. I just want to clean the edge. And there's a different method. You can just move up the stone like this. You can finish it off like that. And what I want to do here is I want to look at the edge. I can't see anything there. I can feel it's nice and smooth. The burr is gone. But I also want to make sure that there's nothing formed on this side, and there isn't. So that is gone now. So I'm going to show you how I would have done that on the Edge Pro. Take out my cool, nifty Edge Pro Professional here. And this, by the way, the Shapton Pond, it's perfect for this Edge Pro. So same thing. I'm going to use this bench on the Edge Pro as my place to rest the knife, and I'm going to do the same thing. It's just very, very nice and handy for this. So I would have gone on the scalloped edges. You can also do this. Works if you want to get tweaked more quickly. I'm not going to hurt anything, but I like to go each one separately. Now, to take out my stone arm, I've set the angle to about 1 or 2 degrees. Again, this is just to make sure that what I'm doing, I'm clearing the edge, clearing the blade. So I'm just going to use you can use any of your stock stones here. This just has to be a Shapton Pro 1.5K. And I'm going to put the stone on the serrated side down, of course, because now I've recreated that burr, and I'm going to remove it. You can start. So right now, remember, this is just enough clearance to move hit the points on the back of the knife. But I'm just, no pressure here at all. It doesn't take any amount of pressure to remove that, just the weight of the stone arm to do it. Very little time, and that will remove that burr from the knife. And it's getting nice and sharp. So you can continue that and move up to another stone, as a 5K stone that I'm using here. As you can see, mine has a nice little nifty little crack in the middle of it, but it doesn't affect the stone. So just to be careful, just be safe, you can quickly go through the motion of ensuring there's no burr on the serrated side. Again, all the way down, and then repeat the process. Very little pressure. And again, this stone arm, the pivot arm is set at about 1-2 degrees, just enough to clear that back of that knife. So that knife is essentially done, nice and sharp. Okay, so we've done, that is with the Edge Pro. I'll now show you how I do it using the full-size Waterstones. Okay, I've just showed you that this is, again, the 600 grit stone. Now, this is a method I watched on Ken doing it, and I talked to him on the phone a long time ago about this too, using the edge of the stone. Now, I wondered how he'd do that, because of these, on this, would it actually work? And it does, and it's, so, removing the burning debris on the back of the knife, and then you can turn the knife over, just raise it a little bit, and gently rub it up the corner of the knife like that. I start to heal and work my way up, and it just rides up the edge of the stone very nicely with very little pressure. You can do this right from the start. You don't need that ceramic rod. This will remove the burr on the serrated side too, but I use a combination of both. And again, cleaning the back off. You can see that this angle is just enough to clear that edge, the back of the knife. So again, I'm feeling for any burr, nothing there. You can finish this off now on a higher grit stone, and I will use my green brick of Pure Joy on this to do this. Again, you can ride the edge. This works really well with scalloped edge serrated knives. Nice and smooth, no pressure. Remember, I don't want to put too much wear on those points. Just cleaning off the edge here. And that's all there is to it. That knife is now, serrated knife is a clean edge on both sides, and it is sharp. So the bottom line for me is that I need to sharpen these serrated. I can't tell my customers, no, I don't sharpen serrated knives. So I don't find them difficult. With like everything else, it just takes practice and patience, persistence, and a bit of courage. Remember to be careful with the flat side. Don't scratch the blade. Just take your time. And hey, thanks for watching.